This is just a short video showing how I open up the front box on the ADV2. Reasons for opening the front box might be to disconnect the batteries so that they don't continue to drain if you've got an issue with batteries draining, or it might be to do work on replacing circuit boards, or just opening it up to have a look in there. So this is just a little introductory video to show how I've been doing it, because I've opened it a few times, and just in the process I've realised that there's a few things that probably, if you haven't done it before, it might help to know about. The first thing I want to do is to cover the foot pad sensor terminals there. I used a bit of hard plastic, a bit of duct tape, so that there's no chance of them getting damaged. Of course, flip it over, take all your screws out. Now when you've taken the screws out, make sure you hold the board carefully while you flip it over. Then set up a box next to it that's a little bit higher, because when you open the lid, you can't just flop it over on its back. The wires aren't long enough, so inches higher. Open your lid up and you'll find that the circuit boards are attached to the top of the lid. With this box you can rest the lid, because the wires aren't long enough for it to flop over onto the floor, basically behind the box. So the first thing that I want to do is to disconnect the battery. I'm going to suggest we disconnect this one here. Now, before I disconnect it, I'd like to remove this lead because it's very tight here at the moment. By disconnecting the power button lead, we can get a little bit more room when we're working on the thing. So with mine, I found it's a lot easier. So you just squeeze the tab and gently pull it out. So the tab there has got a little thing on the back here that you squeeze in to release it, so you can wiggle it out. That's pretty straightforward. You've probably seen them before. I tuck this underneath so it's right out of the way. That way it allows us to get to this power cable a bit easier. The first time I did it, I found the power cable, the terminal connections were very tight. So I've done it a few times now and it's got a lot easier. But what I do is to hold each end of the terminal, twist it to get, there's a little knob there. If you twist it 90 degrees, it allows the terminals to come apart. So once I've done that, I just give it a wiggle and pull the long nose pliers apart. Give it a twist, wiggle, whatever, and they all come apart. Now what just happened then when I slipped off, that's what I found was very easy to do when I first took them apart. I was trying to use my hands, and when they eventually did come apart, I found that my hands wanted to fly apart, and that's why I wanted to take this lead off, because you've got a lot more room here now for the board to move around when this is not connected. You risk breaking that or pulling it out of the plug. So now that we've disconnected the power from the board, I want to plug this one back in again. So make sure you're putting it in the right way. You just check for your tab side. The tab goes in. There's only one socket it can go in with 4 wires. Press it in. Once that is in, press your power button a few times to drain the condensers, or capacitors I should say. So that will hopefully make the whole thing safer. This is all I wanted to show in this video. You've now disconnected the power so that the batteries should stop draining, and if that's all you've got to do, that's great. But if you want to move on to remove parts of the board, we'll do that in the next video.